Welcome back, everybody. My name is Tim and this is another Real Ideal Gear Review. Today we're going to be looking at the Casio W1600. The Casio W1600 is the cousin of two watches, the Royale and the 1300. And we're going to call this one right off the bat, we're going to call this the Zebra because this watch has all the basic functions, or not basic, but it has pretty much all the functions of the 1300, which is kind of the referee watch. And that's where the Zebra name comes in. So I'm going to call this the Zebra just to keep things simple. I don't like saying the numbers over and over again because I just get tongue-tied with all the different numbers. So I'm going to call this one the Zebra. I think it's apropos for what it does, what the functions are that are contained inside the module. So let's get started with the 5 things that I look at, which are size, fitment, finish, accuracy, and then legibility and lume, or in this case, light. So the overall size, this is the typical Casio formula. It's lightweight, it's relatively small on the wrist, so if you like the Royale, if you like the 1300, you're going to love the 1600 because I think there really is no difference. As a matter of fact, the mods that you can do on a Royale, you should be able to do to the case of the 1600 or the Zebra. The internal part of it, some of the layout of the actual display is going to be different between the 3 of them, so don't count on that. But as far as the exterior case, going to a sapphire crystal, those kind of things, you should be able to do that with the 1600 or the Zebra. It's lightweight, so don't forget this is a watch that is just light on the wrist. You don't have hardly any issues. I have hardly any issues with the overall weight. The fitment of it, though, it's the typical Casio issue when it comes to the strap. The straps are a little bit too far apart, or the holes in the strap are a little bit too far apart. So it's kind of one of those things, like sometimes you get it to fit perfectly by chance, other times it's a little too tight, a little bit too loose. But also keep in mind that your wrist size changes throughout the day, overnight, that kind of thing too. So let's not be splitting hairs too much, but it is one of those things that if they just had a little bit more adjustment to the watch, the strap, I think you'd be in a better spot with the overall fitment of this. One of the things that I do like about this compared to the Royale, compared to the Greyman, which is the 800, is that the strap has what I would call a ratcheting strap, or a ratcheting keeper. So the keeper has some ridges on the inside of it that match up with the ridges on the underside of the strap, and that keeps the keeper in place, doesn't slide up and down on the strap, so that your excess, or the tag end of your strap, sticks out too much away from your wrist. So from that perspective, the Greyman, it doesn't do as good a job as the Zebra does. The Zebra, I think, does a great job with that. Also, I noticed this too, and that is that when it comes down to fitment, you can take both of these watches and you could exchange the straps. Okay, now you could do that with the 1300, I believe, the Royale, because these are all based off of the same strap, the same design, and the same connection point to the case. So if you like the strap of, in this case, the Zebra, you love the Greyman like I do, and you want to make the strap more robust, just swap out the straps between the two. Now, of course, you got to buy the watch to do that, but they're cheap watches to start with. That's kind of the point. So overall fitment is the typical thing. I don't like it as much as I like other watches when it comes down to the adjustability of the strap. So a little bit of a ding on there. As far as the finish goes, it's the typical matte finish, resin case, resin band. It has kind of flex strap, so it has in there some ways for this strap to stretch when it's under tension. Gives a little bit of, I don't know, resilience, I guess, under stress, which goes back to my point in earlier videos about these watches, that you don't necessarily have to have a G-Shock to have something that is robust and can handle a little bit of a beating, or a beater type watch. G-Shocks are certainly capable of doing that, but these kind of straps give you that flexibility. The Greyman, however, does not have that. So this is another comparison between the Greyman and the Zebra that I don't see the Greyman coming out on top on that one. So the ratcheting keeper and the flexibility that's built into the strap under stressful situations goes to the Zebra. Frankly, it goes to any of these watches that have that watch design too. So as far as the overall thickness and flexibility of the strap, it's great on both. The Zebra does a great job. I like the Zebra strap, or the 1600 strap, a lot. Accuracy, it's a quartz movement. You're not going to have issues with this quartz movement at all. It's a typical quartz accuracy that you're going to get, so I'm not going to talk too much about that. As far as legibility and lume, or in this case light, the legibility is great. This is where I think this watch, compared to the Royale, is superior to the Royale. It's superior to the 1300 or the referee watch because of the upper portion of the watch, the top third. Those 3 circle dials, I just can't stand them. Now, they didn't improve it all that much. They did improve it some by having, I don't know, the ticker tape type display at the top, but it's better than those dials, and it's minimally better than the dials. But as far as legibility goes, between this and the Royale, this is a much more legible watch because of the size of the numerals for the time. You get to see the day and the date very clearly. I love that part. I think it's on par and even maybe just a little bit better than the Greyman, because with the Greyman, you have a few things in the upper right-hand corner. You have the mode that you're in, and then you also have the year and I think it's the date in the bottom part of the display. A little bit harder to see. On the Zebra, the date is really easy to see. The time is a little smaller than the Greyman, but not by much. So as far as seeing the time goes to the Greyman, but as far as the overall information that you get to see, I think the Zebra does a great job of that. Okay, could it be better? Absolutely. Get rid of that crap at the top. I can't stand it. I wish they would put something up there that was much more meaningful. If they put the year up there, you know, the year is not important necessarily, but at least it's something that, you know, it's more easily used than this ticker tape kind of, I don't know what it is, countdown for, I think it's every 10 seconds. I don't really need that at all, ever. So at least the year, I need it, you know, once a year when the year changes from December 31st to January 1st, and the few days that follow as a reminder. So that is something that I just don't understand from Casio, why they would waste the real estate on something like that, and why not find something else that you could make more useful. But that's the way they've done it. What else do we have? Oh, the light is awesome. So there's 2 LED lights on this one. The Greyman has 1. Compared to the Royale, compared to the 1300, I think they're comparable. But the lighting on this is fantastic. So no issues with the lighting at all. No, matter of fact, I think it's really a strong piece of this whole puzzle. 100 meters of water resistance. All of them have that, so they're all kind of in that same category as far as water resistance, so there's no issues for using this around water, in the shower, swimming, snorkeling, that kind of thing. Some of the other things I think to talk about as far as the function goes, so the 1600 is basically identical, almost identical to the 1300 as far as what it can do with its functions. It has a unique stopwatch system to it. It has 2 timers. It has 1 timer function that has basically all your commonly used period demarcations. So like 15 minutes, 12 minutes, 25, 35, I forget what all the numbers are, but anyway, it has all of those common, you know, blocks of time for a timer. It also has a second timer mode where you can start to set individual timers, and not only that, those individual timers can, I think there's 9 of them, you can set them up in intervals. So if you're doing athletic training, you can actually have interval training, and those timers go off in chronological order. No matter what numbers they are, they go off in chronological order. A couple other things too is that it has a Roger beep system that you can turn off and on. So when you're going between the different modes on the watch and you get that beep sound, you can turn that off. Can't do that with the Greyman. The Greyman is one that it beeps all the time. We're not talking about the hourly chime. It does have an hourly chime. You can set that up and you can turn that off and on. But this is the Roger beep. So when you hit that mode button, you get that beep sound. Okay, so you get this beep sound. Get this going. There you go. So you can turn that part off. Okay, that's a nice feature. What else can you do? 24-hour. This is not something I've seen a lot on the internet as far as like using the 24. I always use the 24-hour. All my digital watches are set up for 24 hours because for me it's just easy. It's been something I've done for the, I don't know, past 6-7 years now. I've just switched over to that because it's just an easier system to work with. So all the digital outputs that I have as far as clocks go, my car, at home, if I can, and certainly on the digital watches, I have it the 24-hour. And you do that by holding down the D button. So the D button is the lower, in this case it'd be the lower right, and you press that and it goes between 12-hour and 24-hour. You have a 10-year battery. Of course, you have the LED illumination, 100 meters of water resistance. There's a lot of great things about this watch. Typical Casio setup for the dollar amount that this watch costs. So what's the overall rating of this? I'm going to give it a 9.3 out of 10. So yes, I think this watch has a slight edge over the Greyman. Slight edge. The Greyman, I still love it. I still think, I'm not totally convinced that the Zebra has overtaken the Greyman just yet, because the interval training, we'll see how much I actually use that. If I don't use it very much, I'm going to tip back to the Greyman and say, you know what? It has everything I need and nothing that I don't. Okay. The 10-year battery is a plus. The Greyman doesn't state that as a real possibility. However, you know, if you get 4 or 5 years out of it, you know, to me that's perfectly fine. So 9.3 out of 10 on this watch. Highly recommended. I think this is a great upgrade from the 1300. I think it's even a better upgrade than the Casio Royale, and it is slightly better than the Greyman. We'll just leave it at that. So there you go. This has been another Ideal Gear Review. My name is Tim, and we'll catch you guys next time.